So thought I would give y'all a little pregnancy recap, a little pregnancy recap. So we're gonna do like a first trimester type of recap and just talk about how the first trimester of life was. But I'm gonna go get my iPad because I took some notes because I want to share this with y'all. Also, my face is clean. I just wanted to wipe it down some more. But we're just gonna use some bottle oil because I did not bring all of the skincare that I needed to bring. But yeah, I'm gonna go get my iPad and be right back. So I found out that I was pregnant on February 14th, 2024, so on Valentine's Day. And I wasn't like throwing up or anything, but I had a show like 2 days or a day before at a college. And when I tell y'all, I was fucking exhausted, one. And I was like severely like thirsty. And I ain't never like, that's why I have so much trouble drinking water, because I'm never like a thirsty person. But I was like severely thirsty. And so, and just like the tiredness was just like out of this world. It was like, oh my goodness. Like, so I woke up and I didn't have any like tests that I actually like could use. But I had some strip tests for when I was trying to track my ovulation, and it also came with some pregnancy tests too. So I just used the little dip strips. And I saw a faint line. Like, I tried to show it to the camera when I did the video, just in case it was positive, but it really wasn't. Like, you couldn't see it, but I could see it. So later that day, I went out and got another pregnancy test for Walmart, one of the digital ones. And y'all, they should not have that many options in a pregnancy aisle. They all do the same thing. Like, why is the ranges between like $7 to $21? And like, pregnancy, like, people talk about babies being expensive. Pregnancy is expensive, and I'm gonna talk about that shit too. I didn't have like any like nausea. I wasn't randomly throwing up at first. I wasn't doing all of that. After a while, I did start getting a little bit sick. So after I found out I was pregnant, at like 3 weeks and a couple days. So I still had like a couple days to a week to have my little 4-week confirmation appointment. And I know that I found out super early, and people be like, oh my god, how did you know that you were pregnant? Like, sometimes when you just pay so much attention to yourself, you kind of just like know. And I say that because I used to think like, how do you know? And now I went through it, I'm like, no, you'll know that something is definitely off. And like the tiredness, like I'm a hard-working sleepy girl, but not to like that extent. I was struggling to stay up through like my regular work day, and so like that alarmed me so much. And that really was like the first trigger of like, okay girl, something is wrong. And when you grown and being grown, you're like, all right, let me take this pregnancy test. My periods already weren't regular, so it's not like, oh, you're waiting for your periods to come. I wasn't waiting for my periods to come. Prior to that, I actually was like on like a medicine that was supposed to help regulate my cycle. It did a little bit, but not, we don't know, because after I took it, I got pregnant. But after that, around like 7 weeks is when I really started to like get sick. And it was 6 weeks. It was like 5 weeks going on to 6 weeks. And I had like this violent ass nausea. And y'all, if I hear somebody vomiting, if I see some vomit, if I smell some vomit, and when I tell you, it was just like, bleh, 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 like, every time I showered, like for months, until like maybe the middle of May, the beginning of May, I could not shower without vomiting. Like, Nick would literally have to stand out of the shower with a trash bag, because if I was in the shower for like 2 minutes, I would throw the fuck up. So violent vomiting, I didn't just have like, oh, a little vomiting here, a little vomit. Like I threw up all day long, from the moment I woke up to the moment I went to sleep. And when I tell you it was like sessions, the type of vomiting that would make your like your stomach cramp and hurt, that is the kind of vomiting that I had going on. And it was absolute the worst. And I cannot imagine having had to go through that without somebody to help me clean up said vomit, because it just made such a mess, like on the toilets, on the showers, wherever. Like we had to start carrying bags in the car because every time I would get in the car, I would just get super sick. So like definitely that started around like 5 weeks and 4 days. And so then the Sunday that we like either were going to be 7 weeks or like on our 6th week, we had went to dinner and we were out chilling, everything was fine, and I had went to the bathroom and I had just like this blood show, not like a period blood show, but like it was blood, and I was panicking because all I could think of was like, oh my God, what is going on? What is happening? Did I do this? Did something happen? It was traumatic. And I immediately left a restaurant on a Sunday, and of course the doctor's office wasn't open because it was the weekend. And so I called, we got all the little dial numbers, of course, that they give you, that's like, oh, this is all the options. Like, it's all these damn options, and I know you have to like put the options so that they get directed to the proper person, but it's really like, oh my God, in my time of crisis, I do not want to have to think about all these damn options. And that's what I felt like I was having to do, you know what I mean? So like that was just such a traumatic experience. And eventually I ended up getting a doctor's appointment with the clinic that I was seeing at the time for the next day. And it was like, oh, this is normal and da da da. But if it's like, it's not normal though. Stop telling people, especially Black women, that stuff is normal when stuff for real don't be normal. Every pregnancy is not the same, so therefore things cannot be, oh, normal this, normal that. And I understand that some things are just symptoms of pregnancy, but when you have first-time parents and first-time moms especially who are going through things where it's like, okay, I don't know what is happening with my body, like what are these things happening, like the last thing that they want to hear is, oh, this is normal. And that's all that they were like saying to me, like, oh, this is normal, this is normal. So I ended up having to come back for the next 48 hours after that appointment and get blood drawn so that they can check that my HCG levels were still going up and everything looked good. And it was at one point where like we also considered like, are we having twins, because why are my numbers so high? And they just told me that everything was fine. So that was just such a terrible experience. And during that time, like nobody knew that we was pregnant besides like me and Nick. So it's not like I could have called my mom and been like, oh, this is what I'm going through, because we were still, you know, especially after you have an experience like that, you want to like keep stuff on lock. You don't really want to let too many people know, just in case something happened. Not that I'm unhealthy, I'm young, I'm strong, but still, you don't want to get yourself hyped. You don't want to get other people hyped. And I was just like, God, please keep my baby. And yeah, that was just, y'all, that was traumatic. I ain't gonna hold y'all. That was real traumatic. And I 10 out of 10 absolutely do not recommend. During my first trimester, I didn't really have any like weird pregnancy cravings. Now, I did like sweets the first couple of weeks a lot more. I'm not like a sweets person. I'm more of like a savory person. I love me a chip. I love me something salty, like a trail mix. But like sweets, I really wasn't into. But I was wanting like ice cream all the time. Like for like at least for like 2 weeks. Let's say like between like 8 and like 9 weeks, I wanted like ice cream. I would throw it up immediately after, but I would want some ice cream. And then like I also was like liking desserts that I didn't usually like tiramisu. Nick will tell this story, and if you follow me on TikTok, you have seen him tell this damn story of me liking his tiramisu. And it was good, y'all. I ain't gonna hold y'all. It was a little tasty. It was tasty. It satisfied all the needs I needed to satisfy. So, but other than that, and even still now into my second trimester, I don't have any like pregnancy cravings. I really couldn't eat much. So like my food aversions were just like food period, smells period. Like smells in particular, when I first found out that I was pregnant, lavender, had to change my soap because I was using the Dr. Bronner's lavender soap. What else didn't I like? Like cologne scents. Like I didn't wear perfume for a couple weeks because like when I tell you like the scents were just so strong, that shit was a little ghetto. But food aversions for sure. Anything I ate, I would throw up, like guaranteed throw up. Not like, oh, maybe I'll try it in small doses. Like even if I ate the smallest of doses, like it would come up within 10 minutes. And so sometimes I would just like eat stuff just because like at the end of the day I still gotta eat. I can't starve myself just knowing I was gonna throw up. I just had to get over to throwing up. And did I ever really get over to throwing up? No, because it was fucking violent. Like that shit is aggressive for me anyways. Everybody's pregnancy experience is different, but like for me, vomiting, sickness, like everyday sickness is what it was. Like I hate when they call it morning sickness, because it doesn't just happen in the morning. It's not like, oh, I'm gonna wake up and do this and this. Like no. Like when that shit erupts your spirit, you gotta answer it. Vomiting during pregnancy makes you his bitch, period. I don't care what nobody say. It's not only in the morning, it's all day long at the most inconvenient times. Like I remember one time I was getting my hair done. I had a hair appointment and like I had vomited all over my outfit. Had to get in the shower, running late to my hair appointment. Thank God my hairdresser is a couple minutes from my house. But like even just that, like it makes you its bitch, okay? It makes you its bitch. Now, if you also see my neck, it is a little bit darker than my face, and that is also a symptom of pregnancy. It doesn't really bother me too much because, you know, it is what it is, but people have pointed it out to me. And if it is something that bothers you, you know, you're entitled to it bothering you. But it really doesn't bother me. So if you see it, it's just another symptom of pregnancy. I think it's called like mela something. I don't know, mela something. Basically, a whole bunch of melanin. It's similar to what people look like when they are insulin resistant on the back of their neck, and it's a little bit dark. That's what it look like. Apparently it's supposed to go away after you're unpregnant. So maybe it will, maybe it won't. It is what it is. I'm dark anyway. So another thing that was really hard during the first trimester is drinking water. Like I had to amp up my water drinking at such a rapid pace. Like I was not a water drinker, and I'm still not a water drinker. I'm a flavored water drinker, but what I saw that when I was drinking my flavored water, I still was like peeing. It was still a little bit yellow, and I wasn't feeling like hydrated like I needed to. And so I ended up switching to water. Got me a new cup, Simply Modern cup. This is the cup I use if you want it. Love it so much. I ended up getting a smaller one because it was just like mentally easier to think about that I was going to be drinking that much water a day. Now I still don't drink like as much as like people who carry on them big ass jars of water, but I do drink like 3 to 4 30-ounce water bottles a day, which is much more than what I used to drink. So small wins for me. But even just drinking water was a struggle because I would throw the water up. I remember one time I was going to the doctor and I thought that my bladder needed to be full. It didn't need to be full, but I thought it did. And I didn't rush the water down. I had woke up early so that I could make sure like the water was in my system. And y'all, when I tell you I threw up all the water, and that happened so many times, like, and sometimes it's still happening within the second trimester, just like fluid sometimes is just too much. So I have to be careful about like how many fluids I consume within a certain time period. But drinking water has always been a struggle for me, like before I got pregnant. But being pregnant, I have to force myself to do it because I want to breastfeed, and that's like I can't breastfeed and be dehydrated all the time. So that is definitely something that has changed. Definitely in second trimester, I'm doing a ton better. I'm not even having to like force myself. It's like, okay, once this water bottle was empty, let's go get another one. Once this water bottle is empty, let's go get another one. So definitely, like, y'all, make sure you stay hydrated, because your girl was not staying hydrated at all. Like, I ushered myself into drinking water. I would still use my little meals. I would try and do less and less and less every time, so that it was like not overly sweet, not overly juicy, and also trying to find stuff with less sugar was like a thing for me. But I have been doing a lot better thanks to Nick. It's really Nick. Nick has made this experience just like the bomb.com for me. He feeds me, makes sure my water's clean, and especially because I'm in a lot of pain, we'll get to that in a couple minutes, like Nick has been such a staple in making sure that I'm alive. When I tell you that, like, I did not know how much labor was into like creating life. People only really talk about the laboring part of like birthing, but like the labor of creating life is something that I could have never imagined prior to now. So Nick has definitely been doing everything. Towards the end of the first trimester, my edges did start to thin out a little bit, and I do have locks, so I try not to do too many high tension styles. But like, my hair hasn't been falling out, it has been growing. rapidly. I know some people hair just be falling out in clumps. Now my edges did start thinning, but once I noticed that they started to thin, I did transition to a new oil. So hopefully that's gonna start like filling out my edges some more, because I don't want to be bald headed and I don't want my locks to fall out on the side. But none of my locks have fallen out. They haven't gotten thinner. My hair grows rapidly. Like I get a retie on a 6-week basis, and it's been 2 weeks and I feel like I already need another retie. So if you're the type of person who just has regular like hair growth, like your hair is gonna skyrocket. I use this prenatal vitamin, and I've never been one to like love to take medicine. It's very hard for me to take medicine. Even when I'm in excruciating pain, I won't even take an Aleve. But like taking medicine and taking prenatals has been super, super hard. And because I throw up every time that I do something, it became super hard for me to even take my prenatals. So like I stopped for a couple of weeks of taking my prenatals, and everything was fine, guys. Everything was fine. I cannot give any medical advice, but for me and my child and my body, stop taking my prenatals for a couple of weeks. Did not harm the progress of our child, did not harm my body. I really didn't feel like it was giving me more energy, more nutrients or anything. But definitely taking them big ass horse pills was not conducive to my mental health, because I would just feel so bad if I missed the day or if I threw up immediately after I took it. But I actually got a really good prenatal in terms of folate that helps with the baby's brain production. And at our anatomy scan, the man literally said your baby has perfect brain symmetry. And you know, I think it's God. I think it's, you know, just my body curating such a healthy baby. But it could also be contributed to the high folic acid that I was taking in the beginning of my pregnancy. My midwife also, towards the end of my first trimester, recommended me a probiotic because I'm allergic to antibiotics. And I don't know if your doctor has talked to you about strep B, but my doctors have talked to me about strep B and the potential of having it. And basically it's just like a bacteria that you can transfer to your baby once it's born. And because I am allergic to a lot of medication and a lot of antibiotics that like cure the problem that people are given after birth, or just in case, my midwife actually recommended that I start taking a probiotic, which I just got off Amazon, and I take it once a day, and it has been so much easier to take that because it doesn't have a taste, it doesn't have like a nasty coating or anything. So I just pop it in the morning, I don't need no meal or nothing, and I take it. Now I will talk a little bit more about like transitioning into midwifery care from like your traditional Western medicine type care. So for the first couple of weeks, at least from like week 4 to week 8, 9, we were going to a clinic in North Carolina, and we did not have the best experience at all. People were rude to us, they were giving us a hard time, and like literally almost every appointment I would just leave there feeling ashamed, feeling embarrassed, crying. And that's definitely not an experience that you want to have when you are creating life, especially when you are trying to keep your stress levels and stuff down. So like that for me, I already knew that I wanted to have a home birth. I knew that I wanted to have a midwife, and in the process of like finding that, I learned so much, y'all. I learned so much. It's so much I didn't know. It's so much like being a woman and coming into like this other section of womanhood that you just learned, especially when it comes to like women's rights and just like the accessibility of American healthcare. And like even though you pay for healthcare, like it's still so much stuff. So I found a midwife in North Carolina, and we actually have to pay for it out of pocket. It's not something that my insurance pays for. Like if I require any labs or anything or ultrasounds and I go through somebody who is in network, then they'll pay for it. But other than that, we pay for everything out of pocket. And I'll do a separate video on like the total cost, what we did to find it. We also have a doula that we pay for out of pocket. I know that some states have programs where you can get like your doula paid for through Medicaid. I can't specifically tell you that, but in the other video I will go more in depth about like tips and tricks on how to find like a midwife and a doula and like weigh out your cost options. Like it can definitely be costly. Into midwifery care, even just Nick will tell anybody, like, it has been a night and day experience. We have 1 hour appointments. We are able to contact her whenever we need to. Like, literally, I shoot her a text message, I have a question or something's going on, she gets back to me within like 5 minutes, if not less. And just having that access to just like your healthcare provider who is like coaching you and providing you care through your pregnancy has definitely been such a game changer. And just being able to just feel safe and heard and not like, oh, this is normal, or you're over exaggerating, and being affirmed that you're actually doing a good job. Like, mama, you're doing a good job. Like, I enjoy hearing that. And I'm not even a person that has affirmation, but being pregnant has just like heightened my anxiety, and it's just like so much going on that you cannot see, that like changing to a midwife and having that personalized one-on-one care where I am the captain of this boat, not the other way around. I'm not subject to a million laws and stuff. I can record what I want to record. I can share what I want to share. We can do what I want to do. If I don't want to do this, then we're finding alternative routes. And I think that is also something that I really like, that there is always an alternative route. It is never like, oh, this is what we're doing, this is what I said needs to be done. It's like, okay, what do you want to do? And we're going to talk through how to make this decision. We're going to talk through what could be the best decision for your lifestyle, for your kid. And so even though we are having to pay for it out of pocket, like, it is a priceless experience. And I definitely recommend, if you can and if you have access, that you really do like invest in it. Another thing that I experienced during the first trimester is like excruciating fucking pain. Like, Nick had to help me walk up the stairs at one point, and it literally felt like it took me like 10 minutes just to get up the stairs, out the house, into the car, up the driveway. I was in so much pain that like anytime my foot hit a surface, like pain would just shoot up both my legs. And it wasn't something that the doctors could describe. It wasn't something that like, oh, this is what this is. And now into my second trimester, I did get some more information on like what that could be. But I did experience a lot of like mobility pain that I had never felt before. And it wasn't just because I was stationary. It wasn't because I needed to stretch. It was just like my body, transforming and transitioning. So you may also experience this. It wasn't round ligament pain, it was sciatic pain, because my kid was definitely pressing up on my sciatic nerve, but it was definitely more than that. And so that was something that I had to figure out how to work with, and I'm still kind of trying to figure out how to work with it, because I still need so much help. And I think that is also something that I want to point out in this video, of just like how dependent pregnancy makes you in a way. Like, you want to be superwoman, you want to be the independent person you are. And I'm sure that there's some people out there that do it, but I couldn't have done this pregnancy without having the amount of one-on-one attention from Nick, from just Nick specifically, because Nick is with me every single day. He sees me cry, he sees me throw up, he sees my body like cripple and break down like mid-movement. And I am very dependent. Some days I cannot get out of bed. Some days I cannot walk down the stairs to just go fill my water bottle up myself. And I've been trying to, lean into the days where I do have a little bit more energy, my body's not hurting so much. But having to be so dependent in pregnancy is something that I never thought would be the way it is. I never thought that I would be like struggling this much, but it has definitely made me appreciate the partner that I selected. I think every fucking day I say, like, I cannot believe that people go through this shit by themselves. Like, I literally could not do this by myself. And so I'm so grateful to have somebody in my home every single day, there when I need them, a call away, a yell away, that is able to, if they cannot provide me with the care that I need, then they're going to find somebody who can. So that is something that I definitely wanted to point out, of just like the mobility pain and just how much help and assistance I needed to just go to the bathroom. And I still need this assistance in the second trimester. This is not something that went away. I still need help sometimes putting on even underwear, getting in and out the shower, walking to and from the bathroom. I need help getting out of the bed. So like, that is something that I was absolutely not prepared for. And it kind of just happened like overnight. I was fine, and then I wasn't, and I haven't been fine since then. Not to scare y'all, but just to give y'all the real of like how the first trimester has been for me, because it wasn't always just like, oh yeah, I can eat food now. And that people think that that's the worst thing about pregnancy, and I think the worst thing about pregnancy is the way that Black women specifically, we don't get the opportunities and the spaces all the time to talk about being pregnant, to talk about the process of making life and laboring. And so sometimes we have these gaps in what we know to be true and what we know to expect because we don't talk about it. And that's really why I really want to do this content. I want to talk about it. I think that's pretty much just like first trimester. We did tell people towards like, not even the end of the first trimester. We didn't tell people until the second trimester, just because we were still just being private and just wanting to keep stuff to ourselves. And I want to include that on a separate video, because we already been talking, girls. We already been talking, and just like the process of just telling people and sharing that news, that can be a whole video in itself. And that is definitely something I want to sit down on here and talk about, just because like if I want to share like the highlights of being pregnant, I also want to share some of the stuff that like I have been struggling with, me and my fiance have been struggling with, and just like it hasn't been, you know, the Hallmark movie that like everybody expects it to be. Even though we are excited for our child, we have not gotten that response from everybody, and that also absorbed a lot of our like emotional energy during the first trimester, like grieving and mourning all of the things that we thought were going to happen, the reactions that we thought we were going to get, and that honestly just didn't happen. So the first trimester is come and gone. We're almost in, my big 290 came out, we're almost in the third trimester actually. And that's even crazy to think about, because I feel like I just found out I was pregnant. But you know, the year go by fast, and when you are like preparing for something day in and day out, like things go by so freaking quickly. And that's one thing I'm trying to soak in the last couple of months, and just be present as I can be, and just make sure that I'm advocating for myself and like making plans on how to take care of me after baby is here. I think that's the best thing that you can do, whether you're in the first trimester, whether you're in the second trimester, is I know everybody puts a lot of focus on like taking care of the baby, but like take some of that time and create a plan and a workflow to take care of you, girl. Because at the end of the day, girl, you gotta care for that baby. You gotta make sure that baby stay alive. You gotta feed them. And even if you have a spouse, the needs of a baby and the way that a mother cares for it, you need to make sure that you are in a space to care for yourself and have care given to you. Because it is, if we take this long to make a baby and our body changes this much, what makes you think that you do not deserve the same amount of care that you are going to be giving to your child, that doctors are going to be giving to your child, that your spouse is going to be giving to your child? So definitely like think about what are some things that you need postpartum, what are some things that you want to make sure that happening in your birth experience so that you can prepare for that. And in my next video of my second trimester recap, because I'm going to try and do one for every trimester, the next one I'll be talking more about like classes where we've took or we're planning to take, like different things that we're working on with our doula, and why we chose to get a doula when we had a midwife and she already has a birthing team. But definitely grateful to be out the sickness of being in the first trimester. That was definitely something that like I was not prepared for, and I feel like I have moments where it really was, oh shit, flip the camera. I feel like I have moments where I think about how like it really wasn't my strength, and I read this affirmation. I don't know if it was an affirmation or more of just like something that people tell themselves, but I read it in a Reddit thread, and this lady was like talking about things that helped her prepare for birth. And one of the things that she said was like, I had to continuously remind myself, even throughout pregnancy, that the pain that I am experiencing was created by me. The pain that I am experiencing, every contraction, every cramp, every move, every tweak, every pain that my body is experiencing, I created. So it cannot destroy me. And so every time I'm in these moments of just like being overwhelmed, feeling like I can't do this, my body's not strong enough, like I just remind myself that just like I am stronger than I think, one. And that is also because of Nick. I'm telling you, Nick be building me up when my kid be trying to rip me up and tear me apart and tear me down. Like I'm stronger than I was. Like I'm doing more than I did the day before, even if all I did the other day was sleep. And that is something that I think we should all take into account. Like our body is going through the natural processes of labor, and this is talking from somebody who is currently having a low risk pregnancy. I'm not high risk at all. My doctors and all my labs, they tell me I'm doing good. So like definitely pay attention to the signs and listen to like the alarms that your care team is telling you. But the pain, the contraction, the cramping, the discomfort, it is all created by you. So when you start to feel like overwhelmed and just like literally overworked, it cannot destroy you because you created it. And I think that has been comforting to me to think about. I know we are on the topic of this. I think one of the things that lead up to all of the stuff that I'm talking about is just also the lack of conversation in the Black community, specifically amongst Black women, of talking about, you know, one, getting pregnant, because they made it seem like if you sneeze, you get pregnant, and that is not the truth. Like, I knew you had to do the nasty. Black women do not talk to Black girls about the process of becoming a mother and entering motherhood, and I think that those gaps in conversations really contribute to what you expect and what you know when it is your turn. Because mama didn't talk to me about like being pregnant. She just told me not to do it. My aunts didn't talk to me about their pregnancy experience. Like, they just popped up with kids. So I really want to take this opportunity to share my experience in case my experience is similar to what you're experiencing, and it just provides some extra knowledge to a fault, because again, I'm not a medical professional. I'm just a pregnant lady sharing what she's going through in her pregnancy. But I definitely think that we as Black women just start having these conversations just amongst each other so we can feel seen. I have said, like, oh my God, I want to apologize to all my pregnant friends that I have ever had, that I did not check on enough, that I did not offer things enough, that I did not know. I didn't know pregnancy was like this. I didn't know it could be like this. So definitely, you know, extend your pregnant friends some grace. If you can, check in on them, call them, invite them out. Like, just continue to look in on them, but just a little extra more, because right now this is probably the hardest thing that I have ever done, and I'm proud of myself. We have made it this far, guys. I'm recording this video at almost 21 weeks pregnant, and this is again coming from somebody who didn't think that we were going to make it out the 6th week of pregnancy, and still struggling, still having to rely on Nicholas for a lot of things, but also relying on myself to like continue to push forward, doing the things I gotta do, even if it's just drinking my water for the day. That is something that I definitely am not taking for granted, and just soaking in these last couple of weeks of it just being us two, just me and Nick, because this is the last year that it'll just be me and Nick, the last summer that it'll just be me and Nick, and also just being me, the last time that I'll just be me without somebody calling me mom, without somebody saying, oh, this is such and such's mom, or also this is such and such's wife. These are the last few weeks and months that I just get to be me. Like, I know that I will always be me, but my life is about to change, and you know, I'm so excited for that change, but I'm also taking an extra moment to just sit in what my life is now, and be grateful for all the versions of myself that I have been over the last 23, almost 24 years, and really try and just prepare my soul and my heart and my spirit to be a guide in somebody else's life. I think that's one thing I'm going to highlight tremendously. And, you know, just talking about my own child and talking about, you know, what type of mom I want to be. Just, I don't own this baby. I am just a guide for this baby. It's something me and Nicholas talk about so much, because it is so important to me for people to know, like, my kid has its own life, its own interests, and I am here to guide and support them. I'm not here to judge them, to dictate them, to any of that. I am literally so excited just to have a front row seat to somebody else's life, and I have gotten the opportunity to create its organs, create its limbs, and now I am here trying to provide safe spaces and a home. Like, that is absolutely unmatched. Y'all hear the boys in the background, but that is absolutely unmatched. And just trying to, you know, now that I have the energy, get out the house and still do some of the things that I like to do, get back to hanging out with my friends, and, you know, like I said, just soak in the last couple of weeks and months of being this version of myself. Because once my baby comes, and even just being pregnant shifts you into a new version of yourself, but once my baby comes, this version of me will not exist anymore. And so I just want to make sure that I'm creating enough room for me, creating enough room for my likes, my dislikes, and give space to what I'm going through. And I think that y'all, if you're watching this video and you're pregnant too, like, give space to what you're going through. Even if it's not the most positive thing, if it's what you feel, it's what you feel, girl, because don't nobody know what your body feel like but you. And I'm telling you that because I be feeling so guilty, like, talking about how much pain I'm in. And I think sometimes people think because I share like what's really going on, they think that I'm not excited. I'm so excited to meet my child. I'm so excited to see what my life is going to be like. I'm so excited to see what their life is going to be like. But at the end of the day, this experience is mine. That experience is yours, and you have the right to share it in whatever way that you want to share it. So thank y'all so much for tuning in to my first trimester recap. I cannot believe we're almost done. Like, we have a couple more months left, and then baby will be here, and we will be rocking out as two parents. I'm gonna be somebody's mama in this life. Like, I did not think that this is how my year was gonna start. This was not in the playbooks for me, but I am rolling with the punches, rolling with the kicks that are going on in my stomach, and just, I'm rolling, y'all. I'm rolling. I'm just trying to stay alive, y'all. I'm trying to stay alive, trying to keep my kid alive. I'm just trying. And I think that's all mamas really be doing. And the more that I am getting closer to a mama, I'm like, damn, I really should have been nicer to my mama. And I'm gonna leave out on that note. So mama, if you see this, I should have been nicer to you, and I'm sure I'm gonna have these moments when my kid gets grown. But comment on other videos y'all want me to do. I'm really interested in documenting this pregnancy. Even if it's just more sit down talks like this, I would love to share my experience and my thoughts with y'all. So I'll catch y'all in my next video.